Welcome folks, this is Wear and Tear, yet another YouTube outdoor and gear review channel. Today I want to show you my beater knife. That is the opposite of a shelf queen. It's more like the red-headed stepchild of knife collections. Now, when I got this knife a few years ago, I did a review. I tested it in woods, but eventually it became my go-to work knife. I added it to my toolbox. And the reason was because it was, from the beginning, the access lock did not lock up properly. So I had to fix it. And when I fixed it, I actually damaged the scales in here. So the liner, there's a little fracture, and that causes the blade to be a little bit instable. There's a little bit too much wiggle room. So it's definitely no longer a precision instrument. The whole lock is, well, it doesn't work very well, let's put it that way. It doesn't work very smooth. It locks up very safely and securely. So this is a damaged knife. So what are you gonna do with a damaged knife? I'm not gonna give it to anyone else because I don't want anyone to hurt themselves with the knife. I don't give away defective stuff. On the other hand, it's way too nice to throw it away, so it ended up in my toolbox. So this damaged unit went through a whole lot of use and also abuse, because I did things with it that I would never do with regular knives. Often I used it as a chisel. You can see that here, that the pommel or the glass breaker is totally flattened out. I used the clip for the, removed the clip for the belt. I didn't need it. So the ergonomics became even better. So I used it as a chisel. I slammed it hard into things. You can see here the spine. There's all kinds of traces on the spine. You know, you apply the knife in some kind of cramped situation because you have to cut something, and then take a hammer or so, or a blunt object, and you drive it into something real hard. And that can be extremely useful. It's kind of a little bit dangerous. You need to take good care of your fingers when you do that. But the lock, although the area is damaged, the lock held up very well. There was never a problem. Another thing that I did recently, I cleaned off some rust with this knife. So from another metal object. So there was a lot of metal on metal action. The blade is completely intact. It's not very sharp, but it's paper cutting sharp. It's very easy to revigorate this blade, to clean it up and to get some sharpness going again. So it's at least paper cutting sharp right now. And there's nothing that would ever break out at any point in time. It just dulls up a little bit. This kind of tip is a great geometry. It is extremely, extremely sturdy. You see all those scratches from the abuse. But there was it didn't give in any way or shape. This is 100% unbelievable after all the things that it did with it. But you see how thick the material is all the way to the end. You see the geometry. You can apply a lot of force, even lateral force, and the tip will not break off. That's incredible. What kind of steel is that? Is that some kind of miracle steel? No, it's standard 440 steel, 440C. So this is the steel that Ganzo used before they pretty much switched over to even better D2 steel. But this is already awesome steel. This is the standard steel that you have on so many inexpensive knives. And yet, if it's done right, and if the manufacturer used the right heat treatment and everything, this steel is incredibly tough. It doesn't break, it doesn't bend, you can easily resharpen it. It's a wonderful steel for work knives. So this is a better work knife than those cheap Moras that you sometimes might take on construction sites, because it's just so much more sturdy. It gives you so much more options. It's also a bit heavier, I guess. So this is my beater knife, a Ganzo G720. I'm kind of curious, maybe you want to share which kind of which type of knife you use as beater knife, or which one of your knives has has slipped into that role, or has been relegated into this role, because pretty much everyone has a tool that he uses a lot and uses very hard, but is kind of neglected. It's not so pretty. It's not the piece that you show out, but when you take it in your hand, you still feel confident. You think, okay, it's not the nicest one that I have, but I have done a lot of things with that, and I'm very confident to get the job done. So this, in my case, is the Ganzo G720. So if you ever look for a robust knife, either get a Ganzo G720 or something similar. Axis lock is an awesome lock if it works properly, and this blade geometry is just tough as nails. So this was Wear and Tear with a little bit of knife talk. Over and out.